poor.
Okay.
So just public school, But my parents were eager to send their kid to a good school, so some things happened. I went to this really annoying private school in the city. Like Nancy Reagan went there, Orson Welles went there, a few people like that. It was a strange experience. But I got out of there and I went to Oberlin College for undergrad. And I wasn't particularly an art student when I was in high school.
Mm-hmm.
I did sports, soccer, basketball, track. And I was into poetry a lot. But when I was in college, I took a couple art classes because I had a friend who was into all that stuff. And in my first drawing class, I was like, okay, this is it. This is what I'm doing. I was trying to figure out what the heck am I going to do. I was into art. I wasn't necessarily in love with art school, but just in order to continue on, professionally, whatever, I decided to try to apply to grad school. And I got into University of Illinois at Chicago. Grad school. Awful critiques, getting yelled at, people telling you don't know what you're doing, you telling them they don't know what they're doing. So when I finished there, another moment of like, what the heck am I going to do with myself, I didn't necessarily want to move to New York because I was like, New York, more jerks in the art world. So I moved out west to Colorado and fell in with this clown school. I was doing stage managing for them. Okay. And I was also dancing with this like trapeze dance company. I did both of those for a little over a year. And at that point I was just like, okay, nothing's happening here, I'm not making a living. Let me just go to New York and see if I can make some art happen, making work. I fell in with Smack Melon pretty soon after I got here, working for them in exchange for studio space. And here we are today. So this is state of the art. It looks maybe more complicated than it is. This is just a box. The basics of the technique is I use a manual 35mm camera, and I've basically ripped all the guts out of it and made some other modifications so that I can move the film in the camera while the shutter stays open the whole time. So having the shutter open the whole time, as the film's going by, light touches the whole strip of film. So that's the basic way, just to get the whole thing exposed. And I shoot on slide film. When I first started the work, I realized there would be no way to print a negative that was this long. They just don't make the equipment for it. So I decided right then and there, shoot on slide film, make a light box. Fashion photography, just for color and sort of visual impact. Persian miniature painting, I look at a lot. Scroll painting, all early photography, like anything photographed before 1905, 1910, I'm really interested in. The sculptor Leonardo Drew, I don't know if you guys know his work. He does these long wall pieces where it looks like just a bunch of little cubbies or cabinets, but there's like rusted paper falling out and chipped paint, this kind of thing. Very painterly. So him. I studied with Kerry James Marshall at grad school. He was my advisor. So I'm still very interested in his work. This one here is the next oldest, I think. This is just my wingspan. So what I did was the same rickety camera, but I put some marks on it so I could kind of see how fast the film was moving. And the camera's on a tripod, start the film moving, and I walk past the camera slow like this, trying to, so the camera's only photographing what's right in front of it. Water Street was a was a fun one. I made that one at a time when I had only been photographing myself thus far, or objects. And again, because I can keep an object still, I can light it, I can shoot it 6 times, changing all my exposure settings and stuff like that to try to figure out what my settings have to be. Water Street, I just took the camera outside and pushed it down the street on a cart, just because I was so sick of just being stuck at my desk, you know, measuring and calculating and all this kind of thing. So I just said, it was a sunny day a couple summers ago, and I was like, I just got to try it. I just got to see what I can get. And I went outside and I shot maybe 5 takes. Some people happened to be going by on the other side of the street just right, and I caught those 2 figures. I think of myself primarily just as an artist, but I think I'm dealing with issues that come out of an African American experience. You know, a cultural tradition comes about because individuals apply their brain power and their talent to their cultural legacy and their present moment, and you know, they come up with new stuff. I think a lot of people feel pulled to be on one side or the other, you know, to sort of turn away from all Western art and focus just on, you know, claim only African influences as influences on your work, claim only Harlem Renaissance art as influencing your own work. But you know, I tend to think that there is, I said this, I think there's a kinship amongst all people who are making things with their mind and their hand. You know, there is always the experience for viewers when they come in to see the work. They're like, you know, I didn't know this was possible with photography. I'm aiming for that kind of reimagining of the possibilities of the medium. That's one of my first targets. So usually that happens with people. I'm working on making a camera, putting together a camera that could hold 30-foot long strips of film, so I can do a really long narrative something. I keep thinking about the work as kind of like scroll painting, but through photographic means. So I really want to get that long length, so you have to walk along it and read the narrative as it goes along. But my goal of making these longer narrative things, like 30 feet long, I feel like I need that bigger canvas, in a sense, in order to be able to tell the story that will bring in, you know, all these other cultural issues.